Good afternoon. It's Adam here. Here to show you my culinary creation using baker's yeast. So I'll show you what I got here. So I made a pizza. So as you can see there, all the ingredients go on top of bread for so I used yeast for this recipe, not as much as you would use for bread, but nevertheless it's still required to make the crust the way it is. So the yeast, the proper name is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, something like that. Sorry for butchering that, but baker's yeast. Alright, so the purpose of adding the yeast is to make the bread rise. So without it, you would have like something like a pita bread, right? And instead, you'll notice it's fluffy, squishy, right? So the way this works is with fermentation, of course. So when I'm making the dough, I add sugar, salt, and the yeast, and the flour, and I mix it all together, and I let it sit for an hour, right? And during this time, the bacteria is fermenting all the sugar that I added, right? So after the hour, I'll punch the inside of the dough because it's all full of CO2 at this point. And then I start making, stretching out my dough, make my pizza, right? And I cook it, and it's going to rise again, some more. The alcohol that is created during fermentation, which is another byproduct, gets cooked off during the cooking process. So all you're left is fluffy bread, right? So fermentation doesn't, need oxygen, so that doesn't change much. CO2 increases during the process, like I said. Alcohol is created, but it eventually gets evaporated off during the cooking process, right? I would say I was successful in my creation. Show you again. So if you look in there, little holes from the CO2 escaping. So anything I would change is I would probably create more dough because the inside of my pizza was soggy, which isn't that cool. But for the most part, most of it created your normal bread. So on top of the pizza, there's other items as created by fermentation, like the cheese and the pepperoni. But I didn't make those ones today, as I'm not the best cook in the world. But nevertheless, it's quite delicious, and I'll most likely be doing it again.